Hey everybody, I hope you're all having a fantastic day and welcome to Bishop Aquatics. Today we're in our Colorado location and we'll be taking a look at one of our best selling plants, the Taiwan Lily for freshwater aquariums. Before we get into the Taiwan Lily, I want to take a few seconds and ask you to subscribe if you enjoy the content. As you can see in the top right corner, almost 90% of our viewers aren't subscribed, and if even a few more hit that button, it would mean a lot to us. Alright, let's get into it. Here we're looking at the Taiwan Lily in a 20-gallon long. This tank does not have CO2. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. We'll get into more of that in a minute. The Taiwan Lily is a hard to find freshwater aquatic plant that is great for people who simply want to enjoy the bright green wavy lily-like leaves. Under the right conditions, this plant will absolutely thrive. It'll produce new leaves daily. Those leaves will turn into whole new plants that'll have roots shoot off, and you can cut the original stem and you can reproduce and produce more plants this way. These plants are fantastic nitrate suckers. They will stabilize algae by basically outcompeting it. This plant, excuse the cat there, she wanted to say hi. This plant's also known by its scientific name, Nymphoides hydrophylla Taiwan, also known as flipper lotus or Taiwan lotus. It can do low light, high light, a pH of 6.5 to 7.8, does not require CO2. Some of our tanks do run CO2, some of them do not. You can put it in the background, foreground, or middle ground. Basically, you just prune it to whatever height you want. So in the front, you keep it real short, and you can see it will produce short leaves. And if you want it to be in the background, or you want it real dense, you just keep letting it grow. As you can see here, we also have it floating on the top right there. Those are all cloned versions of the plant. And you can see it really does have any size you want it to be. All our tanks are in a pretty balanced ecosystem that does have snails, but you can easily get rid of snails by doing a couple different dips that you can research before you put the plants into your tank to make sure no eggs are still alive on there. And it's we're looking at a tank right now. It does well with the guppies, shrimp, corydoras. They will actually use it like a hammock and sleep in the leaves. It will catch food and they'll use it like a plate to eat out of. It'll provide cover for fry if it gets bushy, dense and bushy. It does well with other plants as well. We can see it here in another 20-gallon long with it has black shrimp, Taiwan lilies, and guppy grass, as well as I believe that is Christmas moss in the rocks back there that the shrimp are grooming. And you can see they'll also groom those leaves if you have shrimp or any other kind of groomers. They'll kind of scan those and groom on them. And this is a must-have if you want to keep your tanks very clean naturally and reduce how many water changes you really need to do. This plant's a fantastic option. It's also quite rare and unique looking. Some of the plants, while there might be different plants, they look quite similar. As this one looks a little different than the usual ones and does not need CO2 or any super intense lighting or anything like that. It's a little out of focus here, but you can kind of see the shrimp grooming the smaller leaves. It's great for them. They love those big leaves and make them feel secure. We can see here we're looking at our tanks in Colorado here. Trying to show here that out of a lot of our tank setups, we are growing these lilies, and they may not make them be the prettiest setup at the moment, but they are set up for commercial growing for you guys. This is more one of our just show tanks there, but they look really good in tanks. They help keep the water nice and clean. They outcompete algae pretty well. They're in a ton of our tanks, almost all of them. These are just some of our tanks. We also have more inside. See where we have a little bit of an algae problem in that one tank, so we put a bunch of lilies in there to help combat it. It's gonna, I've done this before. It'll work out great. I just put up 6 more 20 gallons, and a lot of those will also be used to grow more Taiwan lilies so I can keep selling them, because we are selling quite a few and I want to keep being able to do that. So I need more space to grow them with. So we just got 2 racks, 6 more 20-gallon longs set up to grow, and some of those tanks, not all of them, but some of them will be dedicated to the Taiwan lily. And in just a moment here, we'll go inside and take a look at one of the inside tanks. And this one's more just a display tank for inside. It's inside, my home. It's not meant for commercial purposes, and they just look really good in these tanks. You can see here this tank has no filtration, just a light and water, and this plant will do just fine in here with some water changes every once in a while. I'm using that to help condition the tanks. Alright, so we're inside. We're looking at the 15 vertical gallon with Vienna guppy and orange shrimp and panda cories and snails. And you can see they're all over these leaves. They love them. I don't really know what to say. If it's a cool plant, it's great for your tank. It's easy. It's rare. It's something to talk about if you have other fish friends into this kind of stuff, or plants. You can aquascape it how you want it, be it foreground, middle ground, background, or floating. Alright, so it's about a day later, and I did some trimming, some pruning on the Taiwan Lily tanks. That is the red dragon thread fin juveniles. They're just starting to get color in there, along with some cories. And that tank is getting CO2, and I pulled a ton of clones out of there. So out of this tank right here and this tank down here, which has kind of mutt guppies and yellow shrimp and albino cories and no CO2, I did some pruning down here too. As you can see, it's cleared up a bit. I filled up, I'll get down here, the ground level here. I completely filled up 2 more 20-gallon longs. That one's about half full. This one's again about half full, but it has a ton more. I'm completely just floating up here. I pulled probably about 200 clones out. So this is how fast this plant kind of reproduces, and you are able to take just a couple plants, 10 plants, 3 plants, something, 1 plant, and use it across your aquarium how you want. You can have some that are really short and little. You can have some that are bigger. So when we sell them, you see here, this would kind of be like one we'd sell. It has roots. Let's see if I can get under the light here. It has roots, you can see here. 3-4 leaves, about a few fingers long. We'd sell them a little bigger. We'd sell something like this sometimes. This one's kind of like not much to it. This would be the one we'd sell. These are a little bigger. Got roots. It's happy. So sometimes, some of the leaves don't matter. I want to say that. And when they arrive, if you get them shipped to you from whoever, all that matters is this root core right here. Kind of see if I can see it here. I think that's a bit better. Alright, all that matters is this root core right here. As long as this is alive and intact, it'll grow more leaves. This is the important part. And in fact, yeah, I'm sure I have some perfect examples in here that I will pull out for us. something like this is not something we would ship or sell you, but this will grow into a full huge plant. This right here is just a leaf from one of the plants, but it's growing roots at the bottom, so that will grow into a full plant. It's perfectly good. That will turn into a full new plant. A stem alone, just a stem with no leaves, as long as you see a root coming out of it at somewhere or a little leaf bud, it will turn into a full new plant. I know I have some in here somewhere. Like I said, I have so many in here just from pruning those 2 20 gallons. I was able to fill up 2 more 20 gallons. So it's a pretty awesome plant if you're looking for a really hardy plant. Look, here's another big leaf that's growing more leaves out of it and a root. Okay, well, I don't know where my stem example went because there's so many in here, but you'll just have to take my word for it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, have a fantastic day.